Well, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so in today's Arise to Your Health segment, we're talking about an issue that's often ignored.
Here to help us with this issue is psychologist to the stars, Dr. Derek Sweet. Thank you for joining us, doctor.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Great.
Now, Dr. D, they say work with a lot of stars, a lot of celebs, but you're also the official psychologist to various sports teams. And I had no idea that they would even keep someone like you on staff. So how exactly does that work?
Well, I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm actually the official psychiatrist to a number of sports teams. And how it works is that I consult as needed to sports teams in different venues.
And they bring you in, they keep you on to help with these teams?
Yeah, I
help
come
with
in. If they need me, they'll call me. They'll have an issue or a problem that needs addressing, and I'll address it. So it may be about motivation. It may be about sleep. It may be that people are not feeling inspired or they're in a slump, and I need to help galvanize them to do better.
Now, I've seen people like you on television, but I didn't really think you exist. So you're there to basically coach these people through all their issues.
Yeah.
So say a basketball player's going through a slump. We're not going to mention any names, but they call you up and you come to them and you say what? What do you ask them? How do you help them get over this slump?
So yeah, I'll get the call and I'll fly in, or wherever I have to go, I'll show up and I'll find out, well, what has been your record so far? How are you doing this? And what's been happening in your life on the court? But really, the work is off the court. Because lots of times when a performer or an athlete is not doing well, it's related to something that's distracting them or occupying their mind really off the court most of the time. Because most of these folks are professionals. They know exactly what they're doing and they're the best, they're elite. So it's usually some distraction or something that's happening off the outside of the arena, outside of the court, outside of the professional work they're doing. So the work is to find out what that is and to help eliminate it or contain it.
Is it usually family stuff, romance,
it could
money?
Be exactly. It could be any of these things. It could be something as simple as my kid is not doing well in school, or they're missing me because I'm on the road so much, to I'm having relational problems, to I'm drinking a little bit more than I should because I'm partying a little bit too much, to feeling unappreciated by a family member, a coach, or some external person. So we have to dig and find that out and then somehow get them to let go of that and get back to their baseline of performance.
Now, why do you think psychiatrists like yourself or other mental health doctors on the NBA squad or an NFL squad, why do you think that they're kept so secret? Is it because of the stigma surrounding mental health issues?
I think that's exactly it. No one, the wider in society in general, no one really wants to come to me. Nobody wants to really say, I am seeing a psychiatrist. There's a lot of stigma around that. And also to protect the confidentiality of folks who are seeking it and who do want it. In general, people don't want their private vulnerabilities put out there so other people can know. And for a celebrity or an athlete or a top executive, whoever it is, they really need to guard that even more because they're already in the public eye. So if I'm depressed or I'm going through some kind of an addiction or some problem, I may not want to have everybody know that I'm seeing a psychiatrist or I'm getting medication or I'm getting that kind of counseling.
And these things could have emotional repercussions, but also financial repercussions as well. And that's part of the reason why they keep it quiet.
Absolutely. If it gets out and word it starts to travel, it could actually affect a contract for next year. It could actually affect how people perceive you. Because one of the things with mental illness, and it's really kind of odd, is that you can have diabetes or a heart problem and you're not seen as weak or having some kind of defect. But the minute you say, I have a mental problem, it becomes this thing where, oh my goodness, well, something's wrong with you. And so people try to stay away from that perception. And for athletes, it's huge. And for professional dancers or singers, performers, even huge.
Well, I know it's a big issue in many communities, especially the African-American community. I know a study by the Health of America, the Mental Health of America organization says that 63% of African-Americans believe depression, for example, is a sign of weakness. But in the Black community, we've been sort of ingrained to think that we should be strong, we should suck up our problems and endure and keep moving forward. So do you think that's a big reason why some of the help is never even sought after?
That's a huge reason why it's not sought after. We, as a people of color, we're trained to be strong. We're trained to suck it up. We have to handle our business. We don't really have too many avenues where we can kind of just decompress and show weakness. So,
and there is this perception that therapy is for white people
yes,
still.
Yes, and that we and really
like Black people go to church and white people go to therapy.
Exactly.
That's the perception.
Exactly, and actually, all the research shows that people of color, Black folks, we tend to go to either a minister, a friend, a social community resource. We will not go to that doctor, and particularly a psychiatrist. Now, also, I have to add really quickly that you have to also recognize that only 2% of this country, there are only 2% of Black people who are psychiatrists, 2% who are psychologists, and maybe 4% that are social workers in the country.
Wow.
So finding somebody of color who understands your culture, who can vibe with you, who can know your nuances and understand your traditions and your unique way of seeing your own condition is kind of hard.
Well, let's talk about some of the celebrities that are in issues, with these type of illnesses. Several have admitted to being, having certain disorders like bipolar disorder, including Catherine Zeta-Jones, Lark Voorhees from Saved by the Bell, Carrie Fisher, a.k.a. Princess Leia, and even Mel Gibson, celebrities like that. Now, do you think it's because they're under the microscope so much and being scrutinized all the time that it puts more of a mental strain on them?
Well, yeah, it's hard to know what's going to cause that. Being in the limelight certainly exacerbates any kind of problem that you have. So you all are under stress all the time. You're in the light. You're big-time celebrities. Everybody knows who you are. They're pressures.
Oh, we'll be getting your card after
Just in case, because we're not afraid to admit any problems. Clearly, we have issues. You've seen the show.
It's a great show. It's an absolutely great show. But seriously, the idea is that when you're under intense light and you're constantly in front of others, it really does put a lot of pressure. And where you see it most is in the sleep patterns, not being able to come down after a performance, not being able to decompress after a big game. Also, something's happening tomorrow that's going to really need my energy. That's where it can start. And when you don't get enough sleep, it can trigger a lot of other things. A bad day, being a little bit more grouchy, maybe, doing things that are not necessarily healthy. And when you're in that limelight and you're at that level, you're more at risk for that, and then not being able to find places to get help. Because you can't just walk down the street and go to the doctor's office because people might see you and know this. And if you're in the waiting room, you don't want to be signing autographs when you're trying to get help.
Well, you make a good point because you just finished, rocking a stage. 20,000 people are screaming your name. Are you supposed to go back to your hotel and play Uno? No.
Exactly.
Go out and kick it.
Exactly.
And that's what ends up happening. Well, do you think, and I don't know if this is, what comes first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need to sort of have some sort of need for love, acceptance, etc., to make it to that highest level of celebrity? So a number of them already go in there with issues and they're just further exacerbated by the fact that they actually attain what they always wanted?
That's a great question. I think we all have that need for love. We all have that need for attention. Some of us have gifts and talents that just bring us higher. So I think what happens is that there is that need, but then there's the pressure of the media and pressure of the stakeholders that say, okay, well, you dance well or you sing well, I need you to do this. And if you don't do it, your ratings are going to go low. And then all of a sudden, it's much more than I can perform. It's that I have to please and hit certain marks. And if I don't, then a lot of a backlash comes. And really, the problem is, how do I handle and react to that?
Well, let's help some of the people with these issues because a lot of people may be ignoring the issues. What signs should we look for, and not only ourselves, but on family and friends, that there may be some type of mental health problem in order for us to help them get more help?
Well, the first thing is, do you know this person? I always say that. Let's just get, forget the science. Do I know the person I'm talking about? Because if I know you and I know how you're supposed to be, I'll know when you're off. I'll know the kinds of things that you do on a daily basis, and when you stop doing those things or you're not functioning. So if you came in here and you were not wearing the right kind of clothes, or you weren't the energetic person that you always are, or you are snappy, or things. Those are indicators. And I think what you look for is a break from the consistency that you would have seen in the individual that you know. The biggest problem is when you don't know somebody and you think they're crazy, and really you're crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to go. We're almost out of time. But where can people go for more help? Because, you know, we don't want to just leave people out there. Where can people get real resources to get more help?
Well, the National Alliance of the Mentally Ill and NAMI is online. Of course, my practice,
Right.
Full Circle Confidential, always available. That's
Okay.
online, www.fullcircleconfidential.org. And certainly, we get a lot of referrals from it's interesting, a lot of churches. A lot of churches actually have celebrities or individuals who really need help that don't want to go through the normal process. So often if you speak to your pastor or your church leader or your minister, your place of faith, that person often is a way to connect to other services.
Okay.
Another show is just dealing, though, with the faith community and some of the mistakes that they can make also when they intervene.
All right.
So I just want to throw that in there
Right,
for
just
you.
throw that in
All
there
right,
with
so
it.
we'll
Right.
have
There's
to
much
have
more.
you back.
This is much more
Look at you
complicated.
booking your next segment already.
That's what it's all about.
He's like, I'll be back next week to discuss faith
Dr.
and mental
Derek
health.
Sweet, psychiatrist to the stars.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Pleasure
for your
to be
time.
here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.
You guys.